Welcome to the Rising Star Radio Show, where you'll hear interviews with independent artists along with their music. Discover what these artists are doing to make it in the music business, along with their unique perspectives as up-and-coming musicians. Now, here's your host, Mark Skoda.
Okay, this is Mark Skoda, and you are listening to Rising Star Radio. We have with us today one of our new artists at Iron Gate Records, a young star out of Gastonia, North Carolina, Mr. Garrett Huffman. Garrett, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's great to hear from you. I'm so glad that we get a chance to chat here and introduce you to the audience. Also, to your fans, it's been kind of an interesting ride for you since COVID. Basically, I want to start off, obviously we are really happy to have you on the label. First of all, you're a young man.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah,
you're working your tail off already. You're gigging every weekend. And all of this in just post-COVID, which is, well, by anybody's standards, sort of a whirlwind tour, isn't it?
Oh, it has been. Yes, sir. Yeah, that is true.
So tell me a little bit, how did you decide to become a singer-songwriter? Have you always been a musician? Have you always been interested in music? Or how did you sort of pick up that guitar and play?
Yeah, well, first off, again, thank y'all so much for having me. And thank you for the opportunity for y'all getting me on the label. My brother, he was playing the guitar and he was taking lessons and everything. And he kind of fell out of it because if you know my brother, he doesn't like music too much. But I wanted to try to pick up something new during COVID, and I thought, well, the guitar would be cool to maybe try to pick up and learn. And next thing you know, I just fell in love with it and songwriting, and then we started doing gigs pretty fast. Pretty soon, right after I taught myself how to play, we kind of just jumped right into the fire, so to speak, with it.
So, but what did you do before that? I mean, obviously, most people that I talk to and most artists have really been in music since being little children almost. As many of them sort of growing up on a guitar or a drum kit or singing in church. You're a bit of an odd duck as it relates to the fact that you started so late. I mean, you're just turned 19 years old and
Yes.
You're working hard on your craft already. But what did you do or what were your interests before music?
Yes, well, I was really big into sports for the first little bit of my life. I always played basketball. Basketball was my thing. I was planning on going to college somewhere for it if they would take me. So that was always my first goal in love. And then cross country and running, I was always big into that too. And then something just kind of flipped whenever I found guitar and music. And I mean, I've been singing all my life at church and stuff pretty much, but nothing like really, really serious. But yeah, I've really picked it up after COVID and stuff too. So
well, Usain Bolt already had the running thing cornered, so I suspect that wasn't going to be your bailiwick. And the NBA has been pretty selective, and I don't think you're over 6 feet tall as I met you. So I think your music...
a little shorter than that. Yeah.
Your move towards music seems to be probably a righteous decision indeed.
Yeah, I agree. My parents agree too. So,
well, it actually is kind of fun because when I got to meet you and your folks, and I think that is a wonderful element, is the fact that your parents have been so deeply involved in you, not only as their son, but also as an artist. I think that's extraordinarily positive. I know in my own case, my own son and my wife and I are equally as invested in my son, Matthew. And I think that's important because obviously one of the reasons you sort of come out of the box quickly, I believe, is because you have that support infrastructure around you who are helping you not only build your craft, but also support you in terms of the efforts you're making with respect to your music and also even getting gigs and working, and at the same time also continue to learn music.
Oh yeah. My parents I couldn't ask for better parents, honestly. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. They've been there for every step of the way, helping me, us learning the business together, pretty much everything together. We've brought this from the ground up and tried to. So I just can't say how blessed I am enough to have them in my corner always. So
I guess interestingly, of course, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show here, that you have been gigging every week virtually. I mean, you have 2-3 shows a weekend. How did you go about that? A lot of artists really would give their eye teeth to be able to play that often. Now, I have to say, though, the Carolinas are really ripe for a lot of country artists, a lot of pop artists to play because there are so many great venues. And I think people in the Carolinas, frankly just have a great appreciation for the music and for the artist as well. But how did you go from post-COVID, to suddenly working 3-4 times a week?
Yes. Well, my first gig ever was my friend, his dad owned a restaurant called Sports Page, and we kept at him, and we did several tryouts whenever I was first learning, and he finally gave me the green light to try, and he let me play my first gig there. But after that, my dad and we probably hit the road to over 100 restaurants and just asked them, hey, can we play at all? Just give us a chance. We'll play for free even. And a lot said yes. And then a lot said no. But yeah, at the end, all the places that we've played at have thankfully wanted us back, which is a huge blessing.
Indeed. It's funny because I equate that to back in high school in my day, when guys, quote unquote, didn't want to get shot down by asking a girl out, particularly the pretty girls. And so I'd always ask, 10 girls out, and 9 would say no, but that last one would say yes.
That one, yeah.
And you always had, and I was always dating, and they'd always ask, how'd you do that? I said, well, you got to get a lot of no's before you get a few yeses. And I think,
that's right.
But that was always at least my shtick back then. And I think that is important as well to know about artists, right? You have to ask a lot of people and a lot of turn downs before you are successful.
Yeah. A whole lot of no's. And two, like I said, you don't really think about it, how much live music and how many musicians are around the area, because we didn't know starting off how many places really had live music. But when you go diving in, definitely around here, there's a lot more places than we initially had thought. There's so many places around here that's so supportive of musicians like that.
Well, I think, live music, of course, for any venue is positive because their patrons enjoy it. And in particular, I think it helps them build more of a larger business. And in many cases, I agree completely. If they have music going on, they can also generally get people to stay around longer, buy more food or buy more beers or buy more drinks. And I think that's always a smart business move. And I think today, it seems to me, as I've talked to a lot of people in the industry, that a lot more venues are beginning to play, or I should say have live music playing in their facilities, because they recognize that it is a extraordinarily important element of social contact, and in addition, with all of the other competition for the time budget, as I call it, for individuals, you better have something different than just a burger and fries, right?
That's right. That is completely right. We've even noticed that at all the places. Yeah.
Now you obviously you jumped into it playing. You obviously don't have a lot of original music yet, but you're playing a lot of covers. How big is your repertoire? What do you have in terms of the things that you're ready to sing and play?
Yeah, well, right now I probably have about 500 songs that I can play on the guitar, probably a little bit more if you request them. But I always take song requests at all my shows because, like I said, I love to get the crowd involved at it and see what they want to hear too and everything. So. Now,
you clearly don't have all those memorized, right, in terms of the lyrics.
They're not memorized. That would be something else now. I need to.
So obviously you're able to use an iPad or device on the mic, right, as you're out there. And I think what's interesting about the fact that you have 500 songs in your repertoire, it tells you a lot about music generally, because the reality is that, those old 4 chords, right? If you can play virtually any song,
exactly,
in the pop and country genre, and as long as you know the melodies and have a great voice, that becomes secondary to the performance. Do you have your own gigging kit? I mean, do you bring your own sound generally to these things?
Yes, we have all of our equipment that we bring. I know how we talked about it last time. We kind of started off with kind of that junky equipment, that one speaker in the floor and the mic that's barely working. But we've been fortunate enough to upgrade all that. So I think we're really proud of the sound and everything. So
right. I noticed when we talked, I think one of the things you pointed out, you're also actually already sponsored by somebody, by a guitar company.
Yes, by Willow Creek Guitars.
Tell us a little about who is Willow Creek Guitars and where are they?
Yeah, well, we how that came to be. First off, we had went down to Guitar Wishes in downtown Lincolnton in North Carolina, and we had saw their guitars on the wall, and I immediately fell in love with it. I tell this story everywhere I go because not only do their guitars sound great, they look amazing too. And that's always been one of my big things, is being different. Even whenever I played basketball, I'd always have these weird looking shoes or something. So I always love different looking stuff. But yeah, so we had contacted them and just wanted to talk to them because we were interested at first in one of their guitars. But yeah, and we just kind of started talking and everything, and we just felt like it was an immediate fit. And they're at Indiana, and we went up there and met them back last year in February. And so yeah, that was super, super cool how God just worked all that out for us to be able to be with them.
Do you play acoustic as well as electric, or which one do you prefer? Yeah,
right now I'm only playing acoustic at my shows, but I'm trying to get more into the electric realm of it. And
does Willow Creek do electric as well as acoustic?
They don't do electric yet. Right now they're all acoustic, but I think that's something they're trying to get into soon. So
very cool. So obviously you're out there gigging now. You've written a couple of new pieces. You're continuing to work on that. Tell me a little about the process of recording and production. I know that you're tightly aligned with some folks there in the Carolinas that have been very helpful to you. And obviously, you don't have a band yet, but tell me a little bit about the production process that you're going through.
Yeah, well, right now I do all the songwriting myself. And then we go to a studio called Sound Traffic Studio in Dallas, North Carolina, with David Ryan over there. And he's amazing. I can't say enough great stuff about him and his studio. And we just work fantastic together, bouncing off ideas. And he just helps me a lot with stuff, all that. And yeah, so right now we have been helped playing by my guitar teacher, Caleb Davis. He helps me a lot with coming up with ideas and playing on my songs, because he just played on my song. I'm Still Mine, You're Still Yours, that came out this past Friday. But yeah, that's kind of the way we've been doing it right now. But like we had talked about, I'm still trying to find a band that would be able to do that. We go in, just knock out a session. So
well, I think, and of course, we released I'm Still Mine, You're Still Yours.
Yes.
In Iron Gate, and of course that just came out last Friday. I think it's a great song. First of all, great lyrics, and I think the switcheroo, if you will, on sort of keeping a piece of yourself no matter what kind of relationship you go through. Tell me a little bit about the inspiration for that song.
Yeah, well, I was down. We had a little beach trip we did, and I was just messing around with some different melodies and those chords. And I just got the idea of switching the old saying, "You're still mine, I'm still yours," to "I'm still mine and you're still yours." About how you just talked about, whenever you're in a relationship or something, you lose everything, but at least you didn't lose yourself to that person. They didn't lose their self to you. So I kind of wrote it with that in mind and tried to get that across in the song.
So are you working on more music now with your producer in the studio?
Yes, we have one song already done. We almost have another one done. We're looking to put one out in February, the end of February, and then one probably in March, in the beginning of April. And yeah, this year we are just so music focused about putting out music, but not only the music, but putting out good music that people's going to really resonate with, and that speaks to them and everything. So that's been our main goal this year. So
you're also sort of hard to sort of categorize. I know we talked about, are you country, are you pop, are you country pop, are you southern rock? And I think you mentioned, you're really a little bit of everything. And I have to say that, Still Mine, Still Yours really is much more of a feel of a pop song to me than it is more country, but it's a very cool song. How about your newest music that you're going to be releasing? Sort of where are you heading? What is Garrett Huffman's sound going to be?
Yeah, well, my guitar teacher, Caleb, he always has told me to not be stuck in a box, be free, I guess, as I'm writing, as I'm making music. So I am still trying to find that, but it would be somewhere between the country, the pop, the rock. If you mix all that together, that's what I'm trying to put out through my songs and stuff. Something in there, and we'll have to see where I exactly land at the more I make. So
well, I think if people listen to your song, we're going to play it a little bit later here.
Yeah.
But I think if they listen to it, I think it's your vocals that really drive the sound of Garrett Huffman. It is kind of funny because you got a great voice. I think from my perspective, I enjoy listening to the tenor of your voice, and I should say the timbre of your voice. And I also enjoy just sort of the intonation you use within your music as well. And for a relatively new artist, freshman really, I think you're doing a good job. You're really jumping in.
Thank you so much.
Both feet. So that's a lot of fun to see already from a young man who's sort of up and coming in this field and working as hard as you do. And a lot of artists don't realize that you can do well in a very shorter period of time if you're focused. And I think you have been just that, certainly as it relates to your own music and what you're trying to do to earn enough money to do this full time, right? And at the same time also pay for those bills that are required for things like music production and edit, mix and master.
Yeah, it adds up. It does add up.
Yeah, it does do that. I mean, that's why they call them, poor, starving artists, right?
Yeah.
But I guess, as you're sort of looking to the future, clearly you're wanting to begin to put a band together. And I think that's important because obviously you as a front man, I think, can do pretty darn well. Now, there are some challenges with that, of course, because then you're splitting things 4 or 5 ways. But also it gives you a much deeper sound that you can bring in and also begin to play larger venues, because playing as an acoustic guitarist in a small venue, you're not going to do that with a band, and more importantly, you're not going to be in a big venue with a single guitarist unless you hire other musicians in any case. So I think you're probably on track to try to build that band. I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, we're working on that now. Like we said, and I said we're in talks with several different guitarists and drummers, and we feel really, really good about some of them. So time will tell exactly about that, but we're super optimistic about it, and I just can't wait to start playing with a band, because I've always just played solo, really. Honestly, Like I said, we played about 170 shows so far in about 1.5 to 2 years time span. So, and I said all those have been solo or either a duo, because I've played with my friend before, and he plays guitar too. So we've done that, but I've never been in like a real band setting, so it's going to be cool to get out there and try that.
Bands are cool. I mean, they're hard because obviously you've got to sort of accommodate different egos and different perspectives.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you sort of get that band of brothers, so to speak, and you really sort of gel and have a common vibe, first, you can produce better music generally because now you're collaborating across multiple people. Yeah. And secondly, there's a camaraderie that begins to evolve, and I've noticed it even in my own experience with my son's band over time, and they're about ready to relaunch with a new lead singer and new guitarist, and it's very cool what's about to come out. I'm excited.
It's awesome.
Excited for them, and that's the other reality. Bands change, right? But as the front man, as the guy that's been singing the music, right, and performing the music, you're already well ahead of the game because you're out there in front of people, good, bad, or indifferent, and you're doing it yourself. So when you bring that kind of credentials to a series of other musicians, they're going to support you, and I think at that point, you get bigger faster.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and like you said too about the band of brothers, that's exactly what I'm looking for in people that's serious about it first off, but just has fun with it, and just, as you said, brothers going to a gig, knocking it out the park, coming back, gotta do the next one the next day. So that's exactly what we're looking for.
I know you've been playing everything from restaurants to bars to sort of smaller venues. Where do you find your best reception, and how are you handling a fan base, the development of fan base?
Yeah, well, we've had really, really fortunate with how many great people are around here that has supported me. But my event's coming up. I have a private event this upcoming Saturday, and then next week I'm going to be at Amici's in Concord, and then on that Saturday I have Nelly's in downtown Belmont. They're always amazing over there. But all my shows and everything is posted on my website, GarrettHuffman.com. So that's got all of my shows on there. I think we have about 40 or 50. That might be a little less, a little more shows into the new year that we've already scheduled.
That's fantastic. Now, obviously, you're getting paid for these shows for the most part, or are you doing some just as promotion, or tips only? How are you working out your compensation with the various venues? What are you finding out there in 2023?
Yeah. Well, we get paid for every single one of them pretty much. I mean, there's a rare one here and there that we just do. But is it like a singer-songwriter night or something?
Right.
Those don't really pay, as everybody knows. But they've been all the venues have been really, really amazing to us. I can't even say one bad one, even if we talked in privately. So I mean, they've all just been so kind to me and my family. And yeah, and like I said, to everybody else at the shows, I said there's just so many great people around here that we're just super blessed to know. So
Well, you are. I mean, that's clearly the case, and I tell people this all the time. You got to work at it. You got to ask for the question.
Yeah.
You got to ask to be paid. You know that you don't have to play for free. You're not Muzak. You're an artist. And I think to your point, you know that you're obviously a very humble young man, and that goes a long way, by the way, with a lot of people.
Yeah,
you know, you're a good-looking young man as well. So, you know, you're up there and showing people. You know, you got the long hair going on. You got the great voice, and it's all good stuff. And I think people enjoy that. Plus, I think from my perspective, you know, when people come on a stage like yourself, and there's a genuine element to their persona, people can tell very, very quickly. They can tell who the fakes are and who the real people are. And if you're real and you demonstrate that through your music and through your interaction with the audience, they're going to respect that, and they're going to enjoy that all that much more. And I think it's obvious the fact that you're gigging so often in so many places that you're doing just that.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. That really means a lot. Yeah, I just have so much fun with it, and with everybody at the shows too. That's why like I said, I take the song requests. I try to get them involved best I can, you know. So yeah, it's just always so much fun. I just love doing it. So
well, the nice thing about music is you can do it for many, many years. You know, running fast and playing in the NBA are relatively short-term careers. So yeah. you're already ahead of the game there. So let's I'm going to play "I'm Still Mine, You're Still Yours" in a moment here. But tell me a little about the song and sort of some of the lyrical elements that you put together, and what were you trying to convey in the song before we play it?
Yeah, well, like I said previously, this song came to be at Sound Traffic Studio with David Ryan, and Caleb Davis played everything on it. I mean, I played some of the guitar parts in it, but he pretty much played the majority of it, so I'll give it to him. But yeah, like I said, I talked about we tried to get across the idea, losing everything, but at least you didn't lose your stuff. So the song kind of talks about how that in the beginning, I'm glad to see you finally made your way down south. I knew you would. I never really had a doubt. And just talking about her, about how she left and everything. She pretty much took everything with her, but at least she didn't take me with her. So all right, now for the audience, I got to ask this. I mean, is this a personal experience? Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing about my songs. Some of it is personal.
Sure.
And some of it is personal, well, not personal, but from other people's experiences that I've heard or watched or they've told me. So I kind of do that always with all my songs. They always come from a real place somehow. But
yeah, exactly, through real life, yeah. Right? Through real life.
Exactly, because I said that writes most of the songs for me, just real life experiences and stuff.
That's how the Beatles did it. All right, here, folks, we're going to play "I'm Still Mine, You're Still Yours." It's available on all the streaming platforms. It's Garrett Huffman. It's his first song released with Iron Gate Records, Universal Music Group, and In Grooves. And here is "I'm Still Mine, You're Still Yours."
Something about a family. Oh, I hope it's true. I'll send you wishes through the wind. I'll send some kisses to hope they land on your skin. Back then doesn't seem like it was that far, but I only miss you when I see you in the stars. Cushion the fall. Does it really matter at all? Matter at all? Cause I'm still finding you look great. We didn't matter anyway. It could have been worse. We could have lost more. I'm still mine and you're still yours. I'm still finding you look great. We didn't matter anyway. It could have been worse. We could have lost more. I'm still mine and you're still yours. But if I had that one more chance, I would have chosen us instead. I'll keep fighting this losing war, 'cause you're still mine and I'm still yours.
And there you are, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm still mine, you're still yours, and great lyrics. Garrett, thanks for sharing that song with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's enjoyable to hear. And again, I think your vocals are great. That's one of the things I liked when I first heard some of your demo stuff. I think what's interesting to me, of course, you're 19 years old and you're just beginning to mature, both vocally, not in terms of your mental state. You're already a very mature artist for doing what you're doing. Although you may be going crazy at some point in time when you're in this industry long enough. But I think what's cool is, as you get older, your vocals will get better because they mature, they mellow. You get a very different tone, and I think that's really positive. But you're already on your way as a young man, and I think that's good. And more importantly, you know, I see so many of these award shows, or not award shows, but these reality TV shows like America's Got Talent and The Voice, and you get these one-hit wonders out there. People come on, show up, hit a song great, and suddenly they're there and then they're gone. But that's not how you build a career. That's not how you build a career, in my opinion. There are a few that make it. Certainly, we know a few. Kelly Clarkson to be one, of course. Others as well. But I think at the end of the day, it's more important that as an artist, you begin to evolve and develop your sound, develop your writing ability, and write more, write often. Because as you say, you know, I think Glenn Fry asked the question at one point in his career, you know, how do you write a good song? And he said, just keep writing a lot of bad ones. Eventually you'll write a good one, you know?
Exactly.
And I think it was Bob Seger who told him that. And I think it's very important for any artist to keep writing, even the bad songs. And even if you don't go and produce them, write them or record them as a demo so you have them for posterity, listen to them themselves, and then obviously decide whether you're going to go into the studio and record that song for release. But also, I think it's important to say perfection should not be the enemy of good. In other words, oftentimes artists will keep working it, and never actually get the release out. Unfortunately, today, you got to feed the algorithms. We talked about this when you were coming on board. And that is, you should be releasing a single every 4, 6, 8 weeks so that you're on the radar. There are 60,000 new songs put out there on Spotify alone every single day. You got to build your niche. You got to build your fan base. You got to find those super fans that are going to support you and pay you. You got to find certainly companies like Willow Creek that, as a guitar company, will support you, and other people as well. I think that's important.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think so far I've probably written about 30 songs, 20, 25, something around there. But yeah, like you said, I mean, that's not a lot, but I mean, I've learned a lot about the songwriting process, and I'm kind of a perfectionist, which is a blessing and a curse. But yeah, I've learned with my songs, sometimes it's best just to say, okay, let's leave it alone. Let's just go with it like this. And then it turns out just fine. So I've had to learn to accept that with the songs, because there's always something about every song, you know, that you're not going to like, or that could be better in your mind.
Right.
And so come to accept that, I think, which has really helped my songwriting and producing and just everything in general. So
now, are you paying your brother stipend for all of your work, given the fact that he inspired you with that first guitar? As we sort of come to the end of the show here, what does he think about all this?
I'm not sure what he thinks about it, to be honest. I think he, like I said, if you know my brother, you know he's totally opposite of me in every single way. The only music he really likes is like Christmas music, so it's really funny.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I think he's pretty surprised about it, just as everybody else, about me just doing a quick little 180 and switching what I wanted to do. We got to get him on here sometime and ask him. So.
Yeah, you go. We'll do that. Well, Garrett, look, it's a pleasure to talk to you today. I appreciate you joining us. And again, it's Garrett Huffman, and he is a new artist here on Iron Gate Records. And make sure you please check out all of his music that'll be coming out over the next weeks and months over at all the streaming services. I'm Still Mine, You're Still Yours, just released last Friday. Check it out. You got to listen to this young man, listen to his vocals, listen to his lyrics. For a brand new artist, not so bad, folks. Garrett, thanks so very much for joining us today, and continued success. We'll be working with you to do just that.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for having me again. And for everybody too listening, I got a Facebook page and an Instagram page, Garrett Huffman Music, on both of those. And like I said, we constantly post on there, keeping everybody updated. But thank y'all so much again for everything.
We'll leave it there. Thanks very much, Garrett.
Thanks for joining us for the Rising Star Radio Show on Iron Gate Records Radio, where the independent artist is the star.